Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic.
I'm Barry P. Cook. I'm going to talk to you about The Little Mermaid, Disney's live action version of Disney's cartoon version of the story by Hans Christian Andersen. So, this isn't something I would normally watch. I'm not a huge Disney fan, the Disney characters. But I had to watch this movie because so many people are trashing the crap out of it and just saying ridiculous things, that it's horrible, that it's awful. A certain helmet wearing pop culture commentator called it Ebola soaked, and they've been doing this ever since the casting of Halle Bailey was announced, coincidentally. And of course this has had an effect on its box office, which isn't spectacular. Because surprise, you can't shit talk a movie for a year before it comes out and then have it do spectacularly. Surprisingly, that poisons the well. And then when these numbers come out, they take it as validation that they were right, that it's crap because they knew it was going to be crap in advance just based on the casting of the lead. And they then celebrate the fact that it's doing crappy. And so I just had to watch it so that I could comment on that situation with full knowledge of what the movie actually is. So I went ahead and watched it. And, you know, the plot breakdown, a plot breakdown isn't even necessary, right? It's the same plot basically as the animated one, the original animated Disney one. Ariel, the Little Mermaid, is obsessed with the surface world and wants to be a part of it. And her father's against it because his wife, Ariel's mother, was killed by someone, a human. And so they have a conflict, but she eventually disobeys him and goes to the surface and saves the life of Prince Eric from a shipwreck. And then he wants to find her. And meanwhile, she makes a deal with Ursula to get legs in exchange for her voice and gets to go to the surface. But Eric doesn't know that she's the one that saved him because she doesn't have a voice. And he's looking for a girl with a voice. And so they kind of sort of fall in love, but he ends up almost marrying Ursula because she pretends to be Ariel using Ariel's voice and, disguises her appearance. But then Ariel gets her voice back and he realizes it's her and they get together and that's the story. And she does this with the help of her sea friends, Sebastian, Flounder, and Scuttle. That's the story. They didn't reinvent the wheel. They didn't. If that's the story, okay. So there wasn't anything about the story that stood out. It's familiar territory. So it comes down to a question of execution. Did they execute the story well? And the answer is yeah, they did. The underwater visuals are amazing. Okay. Halle Bailey is fantastic in the part. Fantastic. She looks amazing. She sounds amazing. She performs amazingly. She sings amazingly. So she's just fantastic. Melissa McCarthy, who I love, was so good in the part of Ursula that she surprised me, which is saying a lot for me because she's good in everything that she's in. I just would never have pictured her playing this character, this type of sort of mustache twirling villain in a musical. But she's amazing in it. And she was a big part of why I enjoyed the movie, equally with Halle Bailey. The gentleman who plays Sebastian is fantastic. He's the guy that plays the lead in the Snowpiercer TV show, and I found him to be a competent actor on that show, but I didn't think he was anything special. In this, he's fantastic. fantastic. I'm going to say he's a third equal reason why I enjoyed the movie. He's just amazing. The way he vocalizes the part is fantastic. And I also liked Aquafina as Scuttle. I wouldn't say equally with those three, but quite a bit. I enjoy her in everything I see her in. She's really good in the part. And again, I wouldn't have thought she necessarily would be because it's not what she normally plays exactly. It's similar, but it's different enough that I wouldn't have thought of her for a part like this upon seeing what the part is. But she's great in it. So, and the guy who plays Eric is just mediocre, to be honest. But in that way, it's an excellent film. The visuals, even the on land visuals are really good and really charming, but nothing mind blowing. But the undersea visuals are mind blowing. This I have no idea how they filmed this to make their hair move the way it does. The hair didn't move like that in Aquaman. It looked awful. In this, it looks fantastic. The actor's hair. So it's just visually mind blowing. The performances of the top actors in the film, the main parts, are exceptional. And the charming story of the Little Mermaid is retold and depicted quite well. There's chemistry between the two leads, even though I think the guy is kind of mediocre. The chemistry is there. You believe they're falling in love. And the musical numbers are well done. It's very charming. And I didn't find there to be any elements of it that you could complain about. You can't say there are plot holes. It's a fantasy movie that follows very closely the animated, film. So it's not, it's a fantasy story, and any parts of it that don't comport with reality are not meant to. So it, it's there's nothing to complain about. There are no bad elements of this retelling of the Little Mermaid. It's a fine movie that looks great and has great performances. There's certainly nothing woke in it. There's no political references. There's nothing woke about it. Which of course didn't stop someone from complaining that in this version, differently from the cartoon, the day is saved by Ariel and not Eric. She's the one that ends up taking out Ursula while Eric is fumbling about, versus in the animated movie, Eric saves the day while Ariel is floundering about and gets caught in some ropes or something. I don't know. I didn't actually see the anime. But she's in the animated one, she's struggling to get through a situation while at the same time Eric takes out Ursula. But in this version, the live action one just came out. And I say just came out because there have been other live action ones. She takes out Ursula. And apparently this is woke because, how dare the title character of a film be the hero in their own film? That's, can't have that, right? It's not called Eric, folks. It's called The Little Mermaid. So in the end, she's the hero. Why would you call that woke and make it and make it out like it's negative? It's a negative thing. Did they do it because they're woke? The producers, the writers, powers that be, maybe. But who cares? The title character in her own movie ends up being the hero and takes out directly the person who did her harm in the story. Why would you have a problem with that? Because it doesn't allow the male to be the hero? Like, does every you know, movie have to have the hero be male for you people to be happy? Like, what? I don't understand the issue. Doesn't make any sense. But the movie is not woke, and that choice is not woke. It's just a choice to let the hero be the title character, or let the title character be the hero. What could possibly be wrong with that? Anyway, that's really all I have to say. It's not a lot to say. They didn't reinvent the wheel. They didn't reinterpret the story in some super creative way that requires a lot of analyzation or discussion. It's the Little Mermaid, just like you saw before, only apparently slightly different in the end, with some great performances and great visuals. And why it's tanking, I don't know, other than because these idiots poisoned the well for, I don't know, a year, 8 months, whatever it is, since a year and a half, however long it's been since the casting was announced. They've been shitting all over this movie because they decided that that one casting choice meant that the movie was going to be woke and that therefore it couldn't possibly be good. And so that's all they've been saying the whole time. And now that they poisoned the fucking well and people aren't going to see it in high numbers and it's tanking financially to a certain extent, they're celebrating the fact that it's tanking and using it as validation that they were right that the movie sucks. It doesn't suck. There's nothing wrong with it. It's very good if you like good performances and great visuals and romantic comedy fantasy films. That's it. That's the truth. So I'm going to get out of here. I'll be back with more movie reviews in the future. Until I return, I wish you peace and long life.